Oh my gosh, Miyu is out, and my top priority is to sweat, is to get that number one, is to get the best rotation I could possibly think of on day one, except it's not day one, and I've been able to do this day one, and I'm always super fucking late because I was working on that video about the glitches in the game and stuff, and I like that, and then I was also doing like the event and stuff, and I was also sleeping and stuff, and doing other stuff and stuff, and playing Slay the Spire and stuff, and so, yeah, but anyways, so, Miyu's cool. Miyu's actually really fucking cool. If she weren't so cool, I would be starting to get annoyed at how every single character is just like extending the animation time. I mean, I feel like it's happening a lot to like not just this gacha game, but like I mean actually, well, to be fair, P5X is the only gacha game I play anymore right now, but you know, that's beside a big point. It's cool. She is a pretty complicated seeming character, but then I guess, you know, the more you play, it becomes kind of simple as well in a way. She deals the bulk of her damage in her surf form, in which she will use her SP to launch a resonance attack after every ally action, if she has enough SP. At A6, she was permanently in surf form. If at A0, you would need to, which means you can just spam her skill 2 more often. At A0, you would probably like to use your or S1 most of the time, and try to not have to use a skill 3 to re-enter her mode. I'm not too sure about that though. And then she takes those stacks that she gained from the resonance and builds it into a giant S2, and that's the bulk of her damage. Kind of like the same sort of concept as Akihiko, to be honest, in terms of rotation. For example, just the way that the teammates works, I'm using, you get to use the Miku's crit rate buff right there, because she really needs it in the early turns, but doesn't anymore in the later turns. The boss's down points this time as well, where once again, just trying to time that knockdown perfectly, aligning with Miku, and that's why, you know, Twins is tunneling on one of the jack-o'-lanterns, and we won't be highlighting. We had the same early Minami highlight here, and also the delay on the item, basically the same tech. The only really thing I had to figure out was how to highlight and how to use Miyu's skill, what order to skill. Too much about. I mean, I tried almost everything, and then I just went back to one thing that my guildmates came up with, and it was just the best. And I was like, okay, fair enough. It doesn't feel very good because it's kind of weird because she is actually not able to really max out her stacks very effectively. If you really want the most damage out of her, it seems interesting. It seems like she was kind of made for Anj, but at the same time, probably not even really, because she also has a lot of like off-turn damage. It's cool that like you're kind of there should be some subtle ways you can improve the rotation by improving the way she deals her resonance damage or off of her action, which I think is honestly more important than anything else. It's something that I have to think about for a little bit more further in the future. It's kind of a general rotation. This is it. And it's kind of because her skill 2 counts on resonance, and it had an really insane scaling, right? Compared to the skill 1, if you count the skill 1, it's like really pathetic in terms of the thing. So we kind of like, you can't really care, because you need to count skill 1 in order for her to maintain her stacks, so the skill 2 eats all the stacks. So, but the skill 2 also does so much damage, so it's like, you gotta use it. So it's really awkward. I guess the similarities with Akihiko kind of ends there, where it's like she likes attack a lot, and then she has like a kind of emphasis on like her skill 2 being like a burst damage turn. However, she also has like a ton of resonant procs, so she's kind of like a very, also then again, in between character. Maybe I guess so far it looks to me like you more so want to treat her as a consistent damage dealer rather than a burst damage dealer. It's really nice. My favorite way to order Miku this way, not only does she get the 2-1-2 combo, she's also able to get this Spring skill 2, which is the weakest damage bonus, which is the strongest buff, to be the last buff, which means it will be skill lamp for the entirety if it ends up aligning. Sometimes it doesn't end up aligning. Something very cool about Miku is like that you basically having those two in the team, you basically have like almost unlimited buff up time almost. Like you have so much buff up time, like she extends her own buffs by 1 turn, or any buffs that she receives by 1 turn, which this, by the way, includes highlights. So you can see this is one thing that I wanted to take advantage of, was the fact that Minami's highlight just becomes 4 turns, which is kind of crazy. But a lot of Slay the Spire. I think this has got to be like literally my favorite video game would be Slay the Spire 1 1 or 2. I don't know which one I'd prefer to pick out of, because like, obviously 1 was the OG and I really loved it. I played a bunch back then, and so Inspired 2 is now just coming here, and there's, you know, so much content with it, right? Because you can play multiplayer and they're constantly changing things. I never thought I'd love the idea of a ever-changing like roguelike as much as until I just started playing this far. Also, I have counter on the other system, just for the funnies. Just for a little bit more damage. It is really bad if it ever crits. It can crit though, however, on this turn, particular turn. This turn, it can actually crit, it will knock them down, and then it will actually be a little bit more damage. But or turn 1, it can crit, but it wouldn't be that much more damage. Else, if you crits, it's kind of a reset because you will mess up the knockdown timing. But if it doesn't crit, then you just get a little bit free damage. And these guys do a lot of the fizz attack, so the counter trigger rate is actually a lot higher than usual because of the Vajra blast. So it's honestly just like very negligible added damage, but there's added damage. At this point, I do have more hours on Slay Spider 2 than Slay Spider 1. At this point, it's because I used to be like a huge like shooter player. But then I discovered that's absolutely not my calling. With the Akihiko rotation, because your Minami highlight has run out, you Minami highlight, but actually, but since this is not run out here, you can actually wonder highlight. But like, shooter is so fun, but like honestly, I haven't touched the mouse in terms of flick, bing, 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 bing in a very, very long time. To be honest, I was like, I probably can't aim shit anymore. I usually just rage so much. Like I think mainly I played Fortnite. I guess I play a lot of Fortnite. Because that's the shooter that's like the least like a shooter. We are also reusing a lot of buffs just because, so Miku has this buff extension kind of thing, and also Miyu does have it as well, which kind of is a little bit interesting and awkward to play around. It's really fun. It's interesting. Like they're I mean, I guess it just makes it more smooth to play around. I don't know if there's much more you can really do about it, but it's nice. It feels nice to like, because you have so much room here, especially with twins now. So all twin skills last 3 turns. So you actually have room here to have twins to use the item. They won't lose their weapon buff, they won't lose their A2, and you can use the highlight item here on twins. And so buff Miyu's highlight a little bit. I'll give Miyu a little bit of attack and buff the one highlight she's gonna do here. On Minami, you can also perhaps use an extra item, and you know, if Minami were to throw an highlight item, it would be a higher buff. I just think that the Miyu highlight doesn't do that much damage, and the Minami S1 actually does a lot of damage. But first glance, it seems like it's actually better to cast the Minami S1 for the damage. To really soothe my ADHD brain, Fortnite. Get action all the time, Hollow, as a 1v1 Fortnite battle, one pump build edit. But then I discovered that, hey, strategy is kind of almost like it's a constant stimulation of your brain. You constantly think about what's going to happen next. And honestly, that's a lot of stimulation. This highlight is kind of pathetic. It's cool. It's really nice looking, actually. It's reminds me of like a Genshin Impact highlight. I don't know if I'm crazy, but it does like pretty pathetic damage. I think it's still worth using though. Yeah, it's like the damage of like 1 resonance, which is pretty mid, be honest. So on this turn so on previous turn we did have the Fire Ice highlight. This turn we do lose the Fire Ice highlight. This is the main problem with this rotation right here, is that this turn is pretty buff weak in terms. So that's kind of why I chose to, I guess, use the twin skill, because twin do need to reapply their skill once this turn. So I chose this to be this turn, where I did the Fire Ice. As always with like day 1 videos like this, especially with like a brand new character, especially with a brand new character being a DPS, CPS usually having the most depth in their gameplay, if you exclude twins probably, and Miku as well. And by no means am I like a perfect player, so like there is always, I feel like if I looked back this in like a couple of weeks, I think I could be able to see like a lot of mistakes that I made, because we're always discovering new things and the better ways to play the character, and also each guild boss does just change it anyways, so like maybe we won't even discover the best thing ever, and then the guild boss ends. I think I'm not the best when it comes to like new characters sometimes, because I tend to miss things. I don't really read properly sometimes. It's hard reading. I guess I wanted to say like no rotation is definitive. You know, you always find something better. The earlier in the week a video is uploaded, the more likely something better is going to be found. And to be honest, I've had little less motivation to kind of refine rotations than previously. You know, I have so many hours of the game. I used to play so much and just do all the little things, rerun so many times. But now I'm kind of just sick of it. And so recently, I just, you know, with all the videos and stuff as well, I've just been putting my ideas more so out there so that other people can then carry them and then maybe do some micro adjustments. And then I don't care about these micro adjustments as much to get those number ones. It's just, it's very tedious. I'd rather make the base bulk of the rotation, get the ideas. Yeah, it's way more fun. And it's also way less time consuming to not have to grind. Like I have so much more free time to do other stuff and also free time to like actually upload videos. If I were just grinding this game a whole day to try to like get the best score ever possible, then I would just like not have time to even upload videos anymore. So I'm actually really happy about that. I know like a lot of times I've said that I was gonna keep trying for the number one, and I actually end up not doing it. So it's definitely also way more tedious now that I'm trying to really push my ideas out there. So, you know, people can take my ideas and there's less leeway for, you know, strategy differences, more leeway for people having better cards than me. Although, at the end of the video, I did clickbait you with the title. The title had a score that someone else in my guild got. It was a really, really funny score. But I actually got a higher score. So technically, it's clickbait, but it's like soft clickbait because I literally got a better score. So it's like, but it's a funny number for funny Miyu, and I wanted to use that for a thumbnail. Wild confession, I apologize. I was a YouTuber. I was hungry for money. And I've made a continuous and severe understanding of my lapse of judgment and will not take accountability for my actions. Very excited for both the Spider-Man and the Black Panther movie that's coming out. I'm gonna watch it in cinemas. This is currently number one. And it's definitely not gonna say number one, but just remember who did it first. Miyu here really loves attacks. This Miyu has I have a lot of Pierce here on Miyu. So you might not have this much. You might need to run like Labor Hope on your Miku. Yeah, she really loves that Pierce. She really loves the attack. Bye.